So, today there isn't anything super specific on the agenda. I have a little bit of time that I can take between working on commissions. Just one of them kind of delayed, and then I could technically start on commission sketches, but I'm not in a rush at this moment, so I'll kind of do whatever I have in mind, but I have no final art to make, just only sketches. This is something I've had in the back burner for a while that I figured I'd work a little bit on, maybe get a rushed version of it done. I don't think I'll be able to make it a really elaborate process, but I made a thing a while ago where I made a fake, not quite a fake, basically a mock screenshot for a HD DarkStalkers game. DarkStalkers is a fighting game series from the 90s that never really got a proper sequel. They look really great, they have great character design, people still really like the characters and do a lot of fan art and all that. But yeah, I made a concept like if it was a HD modern fighting game. People really like that, and I figured as a character design exercise that I'd draw some characters kind of in the style of those games. There could be other fighters. The fighters are all monsters, and they're based on either old monster movies or just pop culture monsters. So I made a bunch of concepts to get feedback from people. There was an almost equal amount of comments mentioning they liked all the designs, but I think this one got like one more comment, and I also liked it, so I decided that this was the one that I'd like draw properly in more detail. And it's basically a character based on Mothman. Mothman is what people call a cryptid, or just a modern folklore monster that people claim to have seen, but of course they aren't really real, but a bunch of people believe in them. This one is from the United States, and it supposedly is like a man-sized or larger than man-sized creature with moth-like wings and glowing eyes. And yeah, I decided to make something based on that, so it has kind of moth-based design with the furry thorax and this big coat's going to hang out like moth wings with the color patterns. I have the colors here, like the beta colors that I was thinking about. Why did yeah, you can barely see the lines over the colors, they're so loud, but of course it's just kind of figuring out the general colors it would have. I guess I could like turn on the sketch to all, and then that would be a little bit more of a representation of like the rough sketch that I had decided to make him very glam and take things from like tacky American fashion with these little things on the coat, kind of a little bit of an Elvis Presley theme, the aviator hat and all that. And yeah, I decided to make him very showy, and because the designs in Darkstalkers are all very bizarre, like they're monsters, but they're very over the top, often kind of goofy designs. So I was trying to do something on that vein. And yeah, I decided that, I'll polish this one a little bit, but I won't make it like full art. I'll just draw a finer line over these sketches real quick, and then apply the coloring from the DarkStalkers. The first two games had an art style where they was basically like the shadows were just blue instead of darker, and there was a lot of, I can already make it, like the shading was a lot done with the pen itself, like parallel lines like this. So I'll do it really dirty and really quick. I want to start drawing in a faster, rougher way because I actually like the texture that comes out of that, and I just, that way I can get more work done. It has probably happened already by now. I'm not looking at the screen and I can tell. But I did implement a little thing where a robot should walk past the screen in the foreground every once in a while. I wonder if I can catch it from the edge of my eye, but I haven't seen it yet. Just to make sure it's still working. I might even just leave the bottom in a very unsaturated level. Just to make the image a little bit richer. But yeah, there are several things that I might work on today. I figure I'll just kind of bounce between them. Because especially with doing sketches and stuff, it's always nice to look at something else, work on something else, and then come back and take a good another look before you move on to the final art or anything. And from that point on, it's a lot harder to fix things. Always got to fix things in the sketch stage. The music's just a chill wave, I think it's called, playlist, which I use sometimes as background noise. I'm kind of trusting that it doesn't have copyright. I'm pretty sure this stuff doesn't, or if it does, it's not like in the bot, because it's not a big label or anything like that. This kind of practice of drawing really fast, like doing something that's not a super rough sketch, but it's also, I don't linger too much. Another thing on my to-do list is my new commission prices. I'm going to do just one big page that I can just have as a Google Doc, and now I'm thinking about just making it in ArtStation because that's also pretty good for that kind of stuff. Just a list of images that I can just have there linkable. Yeah, and I want to make a much more elaborate prices list with a lot more categories and all that. So my prices are a bit more accurate to the time that each kind of commission requires. I want to make something in a sketchier style like this, a lot cheaper than having to do the very tedious process of full art where all my lines are like perfectly clean and nice. There's a lot of time that I'm sitting on the same piece. There's a lot of time that I'm not, getting more experience at art. You don't really get that much better at that. Like maybe you get a little bit faster at doing that process, but you don't become a better artist by doing that. It's kind of mindless work. So I want commissions prices that disincentivize that kind of commission and goes more towards stuff that's this level of detail that you're seeing right here. I could even use this as an example for what will be like a color sketch, I think is what I'm going to call it. Still don't have the names down, but I want to separate this from something that's super clean. Because I don't think everybody, that's asking for full art necessarily wants that super clean style, though they'd probably be fine as long as it's like fairly detailed and in color. And yeah, there's other stuff. I also want to separate the prices from realistic and cartoony characters. That's kind of to always be arbitrary, kind of where you draw the line there. But cartoony characters usually have a lot less to them, they're simpler designs. So it's kind of unfair to people who commission something in that style, that they have to pay as much as someone who asks for a really elaborate realistic character, just because I spend so much more time on the latter than I do on the former. So they should be fairer, the newer prices, but I still have to figure it out. I might just do that on stream also, because then people can, oh, I just caught the robot passing by. Yeah, it's nice, seems to be working nicely. So yeah, I could do that on stream, so I could get some feedback from people about the tiers and stuff for commissions. And yeah, so about these little robots that walk past the foreground, it was an idea that I had on I mentioned on stream. I had it and then I mentioned on stream. There's a slide feature that comes with Streamlabs OBS, which is what I use. There's like a pre-programmed slides thing where you can just add a bunch of images to a list and it will cycle them on a slide, and you get as a slideshow, and you get to choose the transition, how much time an image spends on screen, and how long the transition process is. So what I did was initially I just made a little GIF of a walking robot. It's like, here's the robot, and it kind of wobbles back and forth, and that's the GIF. Like, it's the walk cycle from them in Super Metroid. And the idea was having that and a bunch of blank images, just transparent images, and have the slide transition where they kind of just move to the left and the new image takes its place, and have it spend 0 times on the center and a bunch of seconds, say 20 seconds in transition. The hope being that would mean the robot would walk straight by every once in a while. Turns out it's not that simple, because it's not a steady speed. You don't necessarily notice at smaller speeds, but the one slide function that it has makes it so the image goes from a certain max speed and decelerates until it is at the center, meaning that it will always stop on the center, even if it's only perfectly still for a small amount of time. It will always spend most of its time in the center, just because it spends so much time decelerating until it comes to a complete stop, and then so much time accelerating again. So that's a problem, because the walk cycle is constant, and I can just have the robot skating in the center of the screen for a while. So what I had to do was make a much bigger canvas for the robot, and the GIF, like the only moving part is the robot here, and the whole rest is transparent. And then I made it really big on screen with like this being the actual stream. Like here I am, here's the screen, here's the other robot, etc. So you only catch the image when it's already kind of far away from the center, enough that's already at an almost steady pace by the time it crosses the screen. So you can't tell that the robot is accelerating. It's still accelerating a little bit, but I made it so huge that you just catch a tiny amount of that acceleration process, so it seems like a constant speed. So that's a very janky solution, and I'm sure someone who's more familiar with tools and different sources that you can use could come up with a much more elegant way to make a little walking GIF just walk past the screen, but that's what I could do with the tools available. But yeah, ooh, there's a bunch of people now. Anybody who wants to talk in chat, please feel free. Didn't notice how many there were, because usually if there's like 3 or 4 people, someone chimes in, but yeah, I just always tend to think it's a lot more fun if we talk. But if you guys just wanna hang out and listen to it on background, that's also cool. Oh, there the guy is again. See, you really can't even tell that it is faster towards the left of the screen. It looks like a constant speed. Are my levels okay, by the way? They look fine, but I had to mess with some stuff. Yesterday I just decided to give, like, this little talking avatar that I have uses a program that works through Discord. I have to be logged onto a specific Discord chat for it to detect my voice and react to it. So I just gave a bunch of my friends I just included them in the group. Is it called a group? I think it is. The Discord group, anyway. So right now they can tell when I'm online, and if they want they can just pop in at any time, and they should be, we haven't tested it out or anything, but they should be you should be able to hear them as well, just through my computer feed. But that did mean I had to increase the volume of my desktop audio versus the mic, and instead just have the song playing at a super low volume. Usually I just had the song at a normal volume and lowered the desktop audio way down in the mixer, but I can't do that, or else if someone decides to join at some point, you won't be able to hear them. So that's an idea again, just to, hey Bloggin, what's up? Yeah, I don't know how long ago you got in. I was talking I was saying I gave some of my IRL friends a backdoor basically into the stream where if they want to, they'll be able to just join my Discord server that I used to. Oh yeah, so you probably just got that part. So yeah, today I'm just doing kinda a bunch of sketches is the idea. I'm trying to move more into a style of doing less full art and more sketches proportionately. Because the sketch is really the fun and the creative part. So I want to do full art, when that's necessary. When a sketch will basically do it, I just want to do sketches more. And I even like how sketches look. Like I think a sketch that you just polish a little bit can look really rich and nice. And a lot of my, I look back at my my previous work, and a lot of the times I don't like the full art ones. I think they look very rigid and not as expressive. I've gotten better at full art, and that's good. But I kind of like this style. Ultra Guy, hello, how's it doing? It's looking cool. Thank you so much. How are you doing? Yeah, I'm doing this. This is the little DarkStalkers kind of style character, original character that I was creating, just as kind of a character design exercise. And because I did a mock DarkStalker, like a mock screenshot for DarkStalkers sequel a while ago that people really liked, so I decided to play more in that space. I agree, sketches are more fun, so no coloring at all. I will do some simple coloring for this one. I already have the rough colors. Here's like the rough version of the sketch, and I already think this looks fine. I could even post this. But yeah, some really loud colors. I want to make him really absurd and outworldly. So this is the idea for the colors. But yeah, I don't know actually if I'll have to trim the color layer so it fits on this new fine sketch that I'm making. I don't know if I'll do that on stream or if I'll just do a bunch of sketches on stream and just do that off stream at some point. But yeah, how are you doing? Another thing I really want to do a lot more is character design. I really enjoy it, but I feel like I could be so much better at it, which is normal because I haven't done it very much. Gotta do stuff to get good at them, so I want to work on that. I'm doing well. I've been playing Dark Souls 3 all day with a friend. Cool. How do you play it with a friend? I started Dark Souls 1 and 3 and never finished any of them. I know you can invade other people, but is there a way to continuously play with your friend? I don't really know the multiplayer mechanics that well. Orlek, hi, this looks super cool. Thanks, Orlek. Yeah, let me show you real quick because I guess you just came in. This is basically the rough version of the sketch with colors. I'm just doing a little bit of a more detailed one. Trying not to spend too much time on it, discipline myself to be able to make a sketch and just get it done. You can do co-op using phantoms, but you need progress on both worlds. Oh, I get it. So you're playing it parallel to each other, and then at any point you can just ask for help and pop in. That's right. I forgot phantoms. Yeah, right. You can. There's like spots in the game where you like spend a night and then you summon a phantom, right? Yeah. Thanks, Oleg. Yeah, I was just saying I'm working on getting better at character design. So, one of the things that I've always done, but mostly with art styles, was like I grew my own art style by just seeing stuff that I thought was cool and kind of imitating it for a while and then managing to like incorporate it. It's just how I learned to draw in general. By basically, taking elements from art styles that I liked. So I figured I might do the same thing for getting better at character design. So I'm drawing a character in the character design style, hopefully, at least that's the attempt, of a game where I really like the character designs, which is DarkStalkers in this case, and I could do that for other games later too. You can set a summon sign in any uncompleted area. Oh really? Cool. Yeah, I always play those by myself, like offline. So I don't really know. Yeah, neat. Like they're really well made games, and they have a lot of great design. Like the world design from the first Dark Souls is really, really, really good. And I actually like a lot of Dark Souls influenced games. Generally like more retro style games that just take some design ideas from Dark Souls. But I couldn't really get into Dark Souls ever. I guess it's just not the type of game that I'm that into having be kinda hardcore and difficult. When it comes to action games, I'm more of a 2D person, and I don't really like mixing that with RPG and having to figure out like builds and stuff. This is not my thing. And one thing that a lot of people who like Dark Souls tend to agree with me on is that the game does a really bad job of telling you its mechanics. Like you have all those stats that you can upgrade right away in the game, but it doesn't really tell you what they do. You kind of have to look it up on the internet. And I remember in my first playthrough, like in the start of the game, I always needed more dex and more strength to use weapons. And then I went a really long time without really encountering any new weapons and continuing to upgrade those two things. And then I realized that for axes, which is what I was using, I just would never need more dex again, only strength, and I was like throwing away stats. So my character was kind of screwed now, and just worse forever. Yeah, Dark Souls and Bloodborne are great. Sekiro was a little too much for me. Yeah, I didn't even play that. Oh yeah, I just saw the Metroid robot wandering around. Yeah, it's a little creepy. Yeah, it's a little creepy. Yeah. Apparently most people just kinda learn how the game works online. They like learn strategies and builds online, which I don't really like. I think that's a pretty big problem if your game kind of requires people to learn how it works, like word of mouth from other players, and you can just figure out the mechanics by looking at the menus. Maybe the later ones got better at that. I didn't play Bloodborne either. And yeah, I made this, I was talking about this earlier on stream. I had a really janky way to make slides, like to make a slideshow source on my stream that can look like a little robot walking past. but they're really well made games in general. Well, that's really the only problem I have with it design wise. The rest is just not quite being my thing. There's so many stuff on my phone. What's up? What? Sorry, just so many messages, but only one of them I actually have to answer. 1 second. So how have you been? I've been doing pretty good. Not that eventful really. Can't. Not that many updates. But yeah, my other job was giving me a little bit more work than usual, but it's pretty under control right now. I'll probably settle on something like streaming every other day most of the time, unless my other job gets really crazy and I just can't for a while, but I've been able to spend a lot of time on it. I've also been frequenting other people's streams. I need to find more artists, but I want to set a goal for myself where the days that I don't stream, I find another streamer at some point. Yesterday I found a really good one. I don't know if you guys can like... Is it possible for you guys to just look at my follows, like to see who I follow? Is that like public? I don't really know. Anyway, because I can't think of the name right now, but it's a really good artist that weirdly has not a lot of viewers. But a very professional work. Yeah, I could. Since not just you guys around here, I can find them really quick and drop a link just to, you know, promote good art. Let me see if I can find them here. Your prior says Guilherme Art suggests these streamers. Yeah, I was able to do that. It's not one of them. I thought about that. Although, check out everyone who is in my suggested streamers, absolutely. But that's more... Yeah, I could add them as well, I guess. But I added people who I've interacted a little bit more with. I only was on his stream once. But maybe soon I'll add them. Definitely, if at some point he's on when I end the stream, I'll definitely raid him. Here's the name. It's really good. And they were working like super professional, like could be in like a high budget RPG like profiles for some characters. They're like, wow, it looks really great. Must be, you know, like professional work or like a really expensive commission. And he was just drawing NPCs for a campaign that he is DMing for his friends. Like the super is the last thing. Like if you enter the channel, it will start playing automatically. Like it's the last bot. And like, yeah, those are just for like his friends. It's crazy. It's really, really good art. So that's neat. So I follow them, and I want to, yeah, every day. If I don't stream, then my work stream-wise that day will be finding a really cool streamer. Then at some point I also have to start like doing that specifically at like early night, which is when I stop streaming, so that I'll actually have people to rate, because it's really rare. Most of the people who I follow stream either earlier or at around the same time as I do. But yeah, it's really cool. I've been enjoying art streams. They're a good thing to have playing while you do art yourself. Yeah, it's incredible. Like if you play something like some traditional RPGs that you know they're making again nowadays, like on Steam there are a bunch of, you know, top-down kind of 90s style Baldur's Gate type games with painted character profiles. Like it looks like one of those in like a high budget one of those. So it's pretty crazy that they're doing it for free. Like I check their profile and like follow them on Twitter and all that, and they do commissions, but that one was just on the house apparently. But yeah, I've activated hosting other streams when I'm offline, but I actually thought it wasn't working. Like first I activated it, but nobody on my list was online, so I was like, okay, I can't really tell if this is working, but it looks like it is. But yesterday, I think, Potato Lion I noticed was online, and I looked at my page and it was just playing the VOD like normal. And I was like, okay, so it doesn't work. What's going on? Then I realized that it does put the stream on your player, but there's like an arrow to the right on your player where you cycle between stuff, and so it had two of my VODs and then the video I was hosting. Like, what are the odds that anybody's going to look at that? Like, it's rare enough for people to even click on your profile if you're offline, let alone click on it, then like look at the third video online. Like, it's not nobody's going to watch a host. But can you guys see when I test widgets? Let me test a widget real quick. Was this visible for you? Because I also changed the little animations to be more team appropriate. Yeah, so the follow and the subscription are now like the original sprite for the walking robot from Super Metroid. And it was louder than anything else. Yeah, that's kind of a problem, I wonder. It's because, so I've been meaning to buy a microphone, because this is the loudest that I can make my microphone. It's at the most possible in Streamlabs, it's at the most possible on Windows. It's like 10 centimeters away from my mouth right now, and like I'm speaking in a pretty normal volume, like if someone was across the room from me. Like I'm not at all whispering, but it's pretty low, right? So what I usually have to do is make the music really quiet, so you guys will like raise your own volume enough that I am at a good level. Yeah. So I can't really raise my voice any higher than this, so I had to lower the music so you guys raise the volume and then you can hear me. It's kind of the only way I could do it with my current microphone. So I really need to buy a microphone. Sorry about that. So stream alerts might be a little overly loud, so just warning that I'll just test the last one. This is the host thing. This is a little graphic from Metroid Fusion. A bit for some reason it doesn't let you test raids. I also have a custom animation for raids, but I don't know why. It's not one of the options when you're testing your alerts. All the way up, wow, yikes, that's too bad. I can listen to it fine by just raising my what's it called? The sound thing on the side of the computer where the sound comes out of. This thing, I just put the volume at like 3/4 or something, and it sounds fine to me. But speaker, that's right. Sorry. Every once in a while, gaps on my English will show. That's weird because it's sometimes called speaker in Portuguese as well. But people sometimes just call them speakers, but that's not what I call them, and it just wasn't coming to mind. The term I use in Portuguese literally translates to sound box, but I guess it's really no more like weirdly simple than the speaker. Thanks. Yeah, I just wanted to make them a little bit more fitting of the theme. The raid one uses the GIF from Metroid Zero Mission when like you finish the end, you've gotten to the end of the original Metroid, but they have an extra thing where you're surrounded by space pirates and they start shooting at you and your ship goes down and there's an extra thing. I used a little cutscene of the pirates surrounding you for the raid one. And again, I got distracted and just did way too much detail. I had to stop doing this, like way too clean lines. That's not the objective. I just got in this mode from doing commissions, which are almost always full art. Gotta break the habit. I think I gotta do this draw from further away. Then I can't even tell if the lines are clean or not. That's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to draw the whole rest, maybe not the face, the whole rest of the body from 25% zoom. Yeah, I was happy with the result for the new widgets. You see whenever we get a raid at some point. I guess them to be a surprise. Though I've only gotten 2 raids ever, so I think, yeah, I'm pretty sure it was just 2 ever. One really near the beginning, and then recently Potato Lion. But I guess she had gone longer than usual that day. I think she's already out generally when I start. forgetting to drink my coffee. Then it goes cold. And in winter that is unforgiving. You just forget your coffee for a second and it's already completely cold. And I have it on a thermos, so I serve myself a little bit. Oops. And even that, I can't seem to drink in time. I'm going to make this less visible so I can tell what it's looking like. I haven't had a chance to give you a raid yet. Whenever I stream, you're not online or you're already finished. Yeah, that happens a lot. But I was talking about the people I follow because the time when I'm done streaming, I usually am not also available to like watch streams. Most of the people who I follow just aren't on when I finish, so I'm not able to raid them either. How it works. Let's make some dirty lines. This face is actually looking pretty weird, not very symmetrical. I'm thinking about changing the music. Do you guys have any ideas of like game soundtracks? I think any type of soundtrack should probably be fine. Because it's actually music that I kinda hear often because it's on my list of stuff that I just like I have it on my favorites. So whenever I don't really have time to be finding new music, I just slap this on. So I'm kinda bored of it already. Wonder if we can just do this like this. I think it's not really very fitting of the style. There goes the little robot guy. But yeah, I've been meaning to buy a new microphone. I was actually looking at some on AliExpress, but I wound up not finishing the purchase. Because I'm using a really old-fashioned one. I recently discovered the Japanese version of Sonic CD soundtrack. It's pretty good. I didn't know. I never really played Sonic CD. I actually bought it on Steam. Haven't played yet. I only played 1, 2, and 3. So let me look that up. Japanese soundtrack. Let's see. I have a bit of a soft spot, I guess, for the older ones, especially Sonic 2. What the heck? Okay. I guess the soundtrack includes just playing the cutscenes with the sounds on them. Alright. But they say Sonic City is the best one of the classic Sonics. But yeah, I don't think they're that great. Really, just design wise. I think sometimes people are a little bit unfair to them. Is this a little bit loud? I think I'll lower it a little bit. Alright. I think people are occasionally a bit unfair to old Sonic games when they didn't like play it as a kid. Like you're a Nintendo kid basically, you grew up with Mario, and then as an adult you with an analytic eye you go play Sonic. I feel like people end up not getting how it was meant to be played because they say, oh, you can see where you're going, like you're going so fast and Sonic's in the center of the screen, you can really tell when you're going to hit stuff. So it's kind of frustrating, like you're supposed to be going fast, but all the time you're kind of having to slow to stop, and it takes a really long time to accelerate again, it's really floaty. But like the point is for you to play it a million times, right? Like when you're a kid in the 90s or something, games, like if you just play them efficiently, you'll be done with them in a couple of hours, but they're supposed to last months or whatever. So they had to make games designed around you playing them when you already know the whole game. So the point of Sonic is you kind of suck at the beginning and you're like bumping into everything and being slow, and you're supposed to enjoy getting better at it and just memorizing the stages and going through stuff really fast and like jumping before you see the enemy or whatever because you know it's there. I think sometimes people like they judge it on the first playthrough, like a modern game. When that wasn't really the point. I'm finding the volume in these is just really inconsistent though. I'm having to raise it or decrease it on every track. But they had really good soundtracks as well. But as far as the 3D Sonic games go, I have no excuses for them. They're just pretty bad. Like instead of releasing 100 million 3D Sonic games, Sega could just have taken their time to like finish one of them, like release one Sonic game that's not completely broken. Like, I don't know what the problem with it is. Like whether they keep releasing these games or okay, I'm just going to change this. It's just way too, the volume is just way too different between tracks. Personally, I never found anything appealing about the franchise and I lose complete interest when they wanted to include some serious dark lore to it. Yeah, that's pretty like that's quintessential like cringy stuff because like from like the 3D Sonic on, like the adventure on, it seems like they are aiming it so specifically at like the most like the age group where the stuff you like becomes most embarrassing over time, which is like 11 to 13-year-olds, right? Like early adolescence, where they're still kind of clinging to kitty stuff but trying to make it cool and edgy in really embarrassing ways. Like that's fanfic age. Um, so yeah, it became kind of like it's a lot easier to stomach stuff that's just for kids. Like early Sonic is a very kiddie aesthetic. Like I don't know, 5 to 10 year olds, let's say, and then the adventure stuff is more for that awkward adolescent era. Yeah, it's just relaxing, calming music from Super Mario, and right away with the Paradox is a good start. But yeah, and like the fact that people kind of defend Sonic Adventure is one of the biggest examples of that thing. That like, what games are considered good by the general culture and like internet people is so based on just the nostalgia of whatever like the biggest group in the dialogue is. Like when people who were in the early teens when the game came out were like the biggest demographic talking about games on the internet, it was like the consensus that Sonic Adventure was a good game. Yikes. Yeah, there's just a lot of bad games. It really seemed like they kept rushing games out. Like instead of getting one good one out, they kept trying to make another one really fast and rushing it and it being bad again. They never really figured out how to make Sonic in 3D, and they just kept like releasing broken, have finished awkward games. Like there's a point in the first level of Sonic Adventure. Like Sonic Adventure has a lot of places where you just kind of have to press forward, which is like a common criticism of the Sonic series. There's a bunch of times where fancy things are happening and Sonic's being bounced around and accelerated by like the stage, but you're really only pressing forwards, so it looks like you're being really cool, but you're not even playing the game. There's one of those sessions in the original Sonic Adventure, in the very first level, which is usually the only polished level in a Sonic game, but this one's the very first, and there's a bit of water, and then there's a path with like walls on the sides of the path, and then you go into like a loop, and you continue on the other side, you go, woo. When you're walking through this area on top of water here, like the only thing literally you can do is go forwards because they put walls on both sides. But if you walk forwards but not fast enough, like if you're pressing forwards but not all the way forwards, Sonic will kind of slow down and then clip to the wall and drown and die instantly. Like that's the level of playtesting that the game has. That's the first level. It's not like a glitch that can happen, it will definitely happen on all versions of the game. I don't know about like the latest PC version, but like all the old time versions of the game. You just walk slowly on that part and the wall eats you and you spawn inside the ocean and die. Doing the one thing the game allows you to do, but like not to the exact way they expected you to, because they want you to be running and you're just walking. It's just, yeah. That in like Sonic 06 apparently is also that way, but during Sonic Adventure definitely was. You're just always trying to make the game not glitch out. Like you don't want to do anything weird, you don't want to get off the beaten path in any kind of level, because you're constantly afraid that the game is going to glitch out and you're going to clip through a wall and die instantly, or the camera is not going to work. Like, it's probably the buggiest game I can think of released by like a major studio that I've played other than Gen 1 Pokemon. But Gen 1 Pokemon, the glitches affect your enjoyment a little bit less. Like, none other game actually works, it's a complete mess, but you play it as a kid and you don't even notice, because a lot of it is like the math that you can really see is just all wrong, it's all programmed wrong and nothing does what it's supposed to do, but like you don't notice because you don't know the mechanics deeply enough, so weird stuff happens and you're like, oh okay. Like you think you missed something, but no, actually it's just completely messed up. I guess it didn't age as poorly as the rest. Oh, sorry. The Chaos Garden is the only thing I hear people mention in the game these days. Yeah, I kind of remember Chaos Garden more from Adventure 2. I don't remember how much there was to it in 1. I'm pretty sure there was one in 1 as well. But I think I remember mostly from 2, you kind of raising different... I guess the Shao Garden, yeah, right, Shao. The Shao Garden, you're raising them to race, and yeah, they were like little Tamagotchi inside the game. But they kept adding other stuff to the game instead of like making the core work. Oh man, and the knuckle sections were so bad. Like, those are some of my worst early gaming memories, was trying to get through the knuckle sections of Sonic Adventure. Mario Galaxy also has really good music. Yeah. Either the counter is acting up or people are really walking in and out this session. Seems like every time I look up, like it's going up or down. But again, ever since I got what's it called? Affiliate. They can get it. They can take it away from me. So I'm like, I don't care. I can have whatever. I can have nobody watching forever, and I still have like the fancy things. You can take them away from me. So it's fine. Never played Adventure, but it's so funny to watch people struggle with the froggy sessions. Oh, the Biggs the Cat thing. The game sucks so much. Like, it sucks so much more than it had to. Like, some sessions, like the Knuckles stuff and the Biggs the Cat stuff, it's like they want it to be bad. Like, you can't imagine, even in the concept level, when they came up with it, like, oh, this will be fun. it really sounds like it's like, oh, this will occupy time. This will make the game take longer. It's like, you don't have to make the game take longer. You could, if you had invested everything in the Sonic thing, and you could beat the game in a weekend, like, it would be fine as long as it was replayable, like the original games. But yeah, they always had to water down like those early 3D Sonic games with other characters because the Sonic stages were really expensive to make because half of their appeal was that you were like zooming really fast by like pretty backgrounds. So people only enjoyed those, but they're like, oh, our game can't be like an hour long. We need to. People expect games to take 60 hours now, so let's just grind it down with some really boring levels. Like the Knuckles ones are basically you're walking around with a metal detector trying to figure out where invisible crystals are and dig after them in like a big open level with no rhyme or reason. But there's just a hot and cold game basically. Like level after level, and they're really annoying. Yeah, it just really sucks. I don't even know where this song is from. I should go to bed now. I'm super tired. Take care. You too. Good night. Thanks for dropping by. Fitting music for me, yeah. This is probably good night. This is probably Galaxy music. I don't know from Adventure 1 or 2, but the pumpkin level looks messy and boring. The music from R64 and Piranha Plants are sleeping. Oh, right, so it barely plays because you really quickly take them out, right. I never like stuck around to listen to their songs, I just always like slide kicked them to death. Adventure 1 or 2, the pumpkin level looked messy and boring. I can't really remember. They kind of merged together because Knuckles, I'm pretty sure the Knuckles stages are like the same in Adventure 1 and 2, like they have the same mechanics. But I might be mixing them up, but I think it's one. But yeah, I used to rent those games just because there wasn't that much to like play. I wound up forcing myself to play them. Like rental places in my town just were kind of already in extinction back then because people just pirated PS2 games. There wasn't as much interest in renting them, so there weren't that many options. I just rent whatever there was, so Sonic was there. There was actually a rental place in my town ever since I was a kid, and up to this point, that was called Sonic because nobody gives a crap about copyright in Latin America. This was just called Sonic and had a huge Sonic on the outside. Like the front of the store was like the store and like a window or whatever, and here it was just huge Sonic going, yeah, I'm Sonic, and gotta go fast. And it just said Sonic, like, I don't care. Sue me. I hope that part's the thumbnail for the VOD. kinda not looking forward to this face just because I'm more delicate than the rest. Need to actually get it right. If I make this one bigger, the other one smaller. Actually, it's a little bit off center, isn't it? Oh, actually, the center is more here. I'll draw some more stuff so I can tell. How was this? Yeah, just that. Okay. Yeah, I think I'll just make this one smaller. I could play Mario Sunshine for the first time a couple months ago. I liked the game, but oh god, I suffered. Why did you suffer? Do you have a hard time like with the secrets? A lot of people have a hard time with the secrets. They're my favorite part though. Like they were the hardest parts of the game, but they were really fun. Like pretty much everybody back in the day played Mario Sunshine and said I want a game that's just the secrets. Because it was just fun, like platforming is fun. I think they're kind of afraid at that point to release a game that was just full platform. Dead Wolf 2, your voice is cool. Thanks, Dead Wolf. I've been working on getting like a new microphone because I think it's kind of hard to hear me, especially because the song's a little loud right now. But yeah, thanks. I 100%, but my problem was with the mandatory levels. Were the mandatory levels? What you mean the mandatory levels? Aren't all of them kind of equally mandatory? But yeah, it's been a long time. Like I 100% it as a kid as well, but it's been a long time. I don't remember what the hardest parts were. I thought they were the secrets generally, like a couple of them, and stuff like the bird made of sand. Let me invert this real quick. Does it look fine? I don't know. Like I'm trying not to like polish stuff too much and just make it a sketch already, but the eyes matching or something you definitely want to get right. For example, that one that you have to throw a bunch of dudes, to be thrown by a bunch of dudes to get to the shine. Oh, the goddamn pachinko. I don't remember pachinko. Oh, right. Yeah, that's actually, like when you figure it out, it's kind of easy, but the first time is usually really frustrating. I didn't have too much trouble with pachinko or the lily pad. The thing I really don't like are 100 coins and blue coins. Really? I guess blue coins can be kind of annoying because like you miss one of them and you have no idea where to look. I actually can't promise that I didn't like read about the blue coins in a magazine or something, right? Back in the day. But yeah. I used to do like challenges in the game, not or like playing stuff without using flood or with a stupid setting on flood, like using the rocket for pachinko. Like doing I think I did the pachinko thing with the rocket and not using the thing that shoots you up or something like that. I actually think I even had to like wait for the I don't remember. Like it was kind of difficult to get in or something with the rocket. I don't really remember. I forgot completely about the 100 coins. That really sucks if you enter a level on the wrong shine. Oh really? Yeah, there are shines where you can't get 100 coins. I don't really remember 100 coins so much on Sunshine because I never replayed it. But I remember in 64 it was really poorly balanced in that some levels getting 100 coins was completely banal, and in others you had to get almost every coin, like Diadox. I think there are like 105 or 110 coins in the level, and others are just coins all over the place. I think Little Lava Land just has a crap ton of coins. In Rainbow Cruise, doing 100% coins is hell. Rainbow Cruise is kind of an annoying level in general because it's so easy to lose all your progress. But I really like Mario 64. It's also really nice to watch speedruns because the movement is so complex and interesting. I really enjoy. Like, I think it's the best speedrun game out there. It's probably Mario 64. Like there are some that I really don't get why were ever popular, like Ocarina of Time speedruns. Like I get why when they did the skip where you manipulate cutscenes to transition straight from Deku Tree to Ganon's castle and like fight Ganon as a kid. Like when like a GDQ explained version of that came out, it became viral and people were really interested because that's really interesting. But watching people like trying to break the record of that and like do that the fastest, I find completely uninteresting. In pretty much any category of Ocarina of Time, it's just a really slow game. Like it's not a fast-paced game. Like I get this a game that's really like people like a lot, but it's just not good for that kind of stuff. I just don't have it in me to actually like get good at speedrun to the point of like knowing the movement well. I mentioned in another stream that I at different points knew the any percent, like the current any percent and 100% routes for Super Metroid. But then like I did it at my skill level, you know, with my movement level, just kind of for fun to see how low I could get my time. Like actually learning like the top tier movement to be like a crazy good speedrunner, which Mario 64, you know, there's a lot of it. There's not that much routing to it, and to the extent that there is routing, is how can you go faster by using this thing that's super difficult to do, right? So it's more about like being able to reliably do really difficult movement, and I can't even start to like. I can barely sit down to play the games that I'm playing like right now casually once, let alone get really good at something like that. There's a cool thing about streaming, right? That people can justify the time to get super good at games because they're making money from streaming. I think that's nice. I grew up on Mario 64 DS, so I prefer it over regular 64. Super Metroid is great for speedruns. Apparently, Dread will let you do some of those things, which I hope is true. So do I. I don't follow gaming news, so I have not seen more news or data from Dread ever since the release trailer. Like, I'm fine with being surprised by games when they come out. But yeah, I certainly hope so, because recent Metroids have been they really want you to do everything in one specific order, and that's really boring. And Super Metroid is the only Metroid that has like Mario 64 style movement, and that the movement is really complex, because there's a run button where you can accelerate so fast that if you know how to do jump arcs that will get you to the stage, like if you have really good knowledge of the stage and of the jump arcs in different states for Samus, you can just navigate really gracefully and really fast. Where the GBA ones, the movement's a lot more straightforward and limited, which makes sense for mobile games. But yeah, I would be down for a new 2D Metroid to just bring back the essential gameplay of Super Metroid, because it's the only Metroid game that works like that, with the run, basically. You don't even need a run button anymore, you could just map movement to the analog stick. Yeah, I really like Return of Samus, but it's so linear, it just makes me wonder why it even have a big open map. Right, because it's I was talking about this the other stream, because it's a remake of Metroid 2, which is made not with one big open map, but a bunch of little mazes, like really self-contained mazes that you can get through in one sitting. But they wanted to remake that game, and they wanted to make it a game like Super Metroid or Zero Mission, so they gave it like the map system that those games have. So Metroid 2 wasn't built to have a map. Especially it wasn't built to have a map where you can just like review huge chunks of the map by using a special ability, like the Aeon thing. That completely removes any level of like mystery and having to keep track of space in your head. So yeah, it has little to no exploration at that point, and yes, it's completely linear as was Metroid 2. Like Metroid 2 just wasn't linear in the sense that it was a sequence of tiny little mazes that you kinda had to keep straight in your head to make sure that you had looked everywhere, like to know where you had looked and where you hadn't looked to get the Metroids, and do that as fast as possible, like clear out the Metroids as fast as possible to do like many playthroughs and get faster at it, get a faster ending. But it's a pretty linear game at the end of the day. They're more like Zelda dungeons, basically, where it's something small enough that you can just have a visual map on it on your head by the time you're done with the first playthrough, and you're just supposed to go, dig around in there, find all the little things real quick, and then leave, and never come back. It's essentially different from Super Metroid. So yeah, I feel like if their image of Metroid now is Super Metroid, right? That's what you have to do. It has to be a Metroidvania. It's already like a whole thing. And they really want to remake Metroid 2 because, I don't know, because people really want to remake Metroid 2. Then just make a completely original map. Where it actually makes sense to go back and forth. Because, you know, Zero Mission worked, even though it really essentially changed the way the original Metroid worked, because the original Metroid, as soon as you get bombed, you're basically out of the tutorial and you can go anywhere on the map and kill bosses in whatever, the two bosses in whatever order you want. And Zero Mission isn't that unlinear, and generally you have to make a special effort to break a sequence. But still, it was a map made for you to go back and forth and to be completely, to be recurring, for you to go through areas more than once. So they could adapt that for the different style of Zero Mission. But 2 and Samus Returns are so different, there's no point. There's no point in using that map. And that kinda goes as well for another Metroid 2 remake, the fan one, which I like a lot better than Samus Returns, because I think the world has a lot more personality to it. But it's also a problem for them, because they also they want to be Zero Mission very clearly. And Metroid 2's maps is just not built for that. So I really feel like if those guys had sat down and just made a Metroid fan game with their original map and their original plot, which doesn't have to be built around eliminating every Metroid, then it would have been probably a better game. I really don't get those things. Like, Metroid Prime 2D is back as of a few months back, as a completely new game with gameplay inspired by Samus Returns. I remember following that game when I was in school, following the upgrades and that, and seeing the little game maker early demos they did. They probably started the game like Game Maker 6 or something. It was in the 2000s. It has been longer since I'm pretty sure it has been longer since they started making Metroid Prime remake, Metroid Prime 2D. It's been longer between now and when they started Metroid Prime 2D than between Metroid Prime and Metroid Prime 2D. And they seem to have just been I'm sure they just ended the project, and most of the time it just wasn't in motion. And now they revived it. But still, why are you still so dedicated to making a Metroid game that already exists in the style of other Metroid games that exist? Make your own Metroid game. If you want to make a game in the series, make your own original story, a fan game. I don't get the point. Why restrict yourself? You're going to have 100% of the work of making a game, but only a fraction of the creative liberty. I really don't get it. And they're clearly so dedicated. The new demo looks really polished and really well done. Make your own game. And here's the other thing that you do. You make your fan game that clearly gets people really hyped, because people, follow fan games a lot more than just original indie game projects. Just make it as an original Metroid game with a lot of new ideas to the Metroid series. But as an original story fan game. And then when Nintendo DMCA's you, which they will, you just change the main character and a few details of the story, and now it's your original game that has that you can release on your own, and like charge money for, and it has a ton of free publicity because it was known as a fan project and because it got on a bunch of news things for getting DMCA. Like, you can do that if it's a Prime remake, right? Because everything about your design belongs to Nintendo. But you can do it if it's an original game. Because seriously, screw Nintendo, they don't deserve fan games. Like, they deserve for people to get publicity off of starting as a fan game, and then off of them being dicks and launching cease and desist against fan games. That should just be free publicity for you to make your own thing. Okay, I'm done with the core part of the face, so now I can get sketchy again. What's this? It's familiar, but I'm not placing it. Alright. Look at something. Some of them have shadows and some don't. I'll do shadows, I like it. There you go. The thing that you were saying about imitating previous games with the same aesthetic and gameplay, I totally agree. Yeah, I don't get like they're taking 2D Metroid gameplay and applying it to a 3D Metroid game. Why? Why are you doing that? Like, is there really something about Metroid Prime that would make for a unique 2D Metroid game? I feel like not really. Metroid was trying pretty hard to be similar to Super Metroid in every aspect other than gameplay, because they were making this gameplay transition and they wanted to remain recognizable, right? Like there was also parallel in the aughts. There used to be a project that was Ocarina of Time 2D, which is like Link to the Past sprites recolored and stuff like that. Again, why? Why are you doing that? You're recreating the whole Link to the Past engine, and then you're not giving yourself the liberty. Like you're working on levels and bunches of cutscenes and all that stuff to make a game that someone already made instead of making your own game. And the end result will basically be a Link to the Past, because again, Ocarina of Time was the first 3D Zelda. They wanted to keep things recognizable, and it was very similar to a Link to the Past. So I just don't get the point. You're working so much to do so little and have it not belong to you. There's a Mega Man X fan game that reuses so much stuff from the SNES games and the S games, but there's so much potential if they do their own thing. They're so talented. Yeah, I kinda get that. A lot of people are really good at making stuff, but they remain so devoted to like the thing that inspired them. Or even in like indie games that just clearly take inspiration for something. There's a bunch for Metroid. There's Axiom Verge, but also I saw another one recently that someone on Twitter was like divulging while they develop it, and they just go a little bit overboard with like, do you need to have doors just like Metroid doors? Like, does it need to be that much? Like that level of look, I'm a fan. Look, notice me, senpai. Like, I don't. Like, just take the good things and make it your own. And like, this might like sound super hypocritical coming from someone who like makes fan art, but there's actually a very utilitarian reason why this fan art. First of all, like to get noticed. I am completely on like for people to find you, because that's kind of just how art works. You have to draw stuff within fandoms to be found by people. Then you can draw your own thing. Also, I'm fine with fan games as long as like you're using it to make your own creation. Like I feel like when you do fan art, like I'm not literally making the game again. Or if it's fan art of a comic, I'm not literally making the comic again. Like I'm making something related to it. I don't think you need to pay that much respect to the original thing, and consider that only by like imitating it will you be doing something that is good. It doesn't need to be like a constant homage to the original. I've been seeing stuff like thumbnails on YouTube. I didn't really get to click a lot about some new ROM hacks of Mega Man X. I don't know if that's what you're talking about, or if it's a ground up fan game. Sure, I'm getting a lot of messages. What's up? Blah 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 blah. Okay. Completely new fan game, huh? Wasn't aware of that one. Yeah. But yeah, my advice for all fan games would be make it different enough that you can just change some stuff eventually and release it as an original game. Because there's lots of games that are like completely shameless about like big games like that did well. They're completely shameless about like basically being a fan game of a certain series, but then they changed the names and stuff. Like, is it Bloodstained? The name, the Castlevania one. Yeah, Bloodstained is just completely Castlevania that you just didn't call Castlevania. Both the main one and the 8-bit ones, which are blatantly like old school Castlevania. There's actually recently, like it was early access until recently. There was a Lados game. Like Lados is like this old OVA thing. Maybe it was mangas as well. But they made one that even like the animations of the main characters look like they were traced over Alucards. Like it's ridiculously just a Castlevania game. And you can get away with it. You can just be a fan game with a different name, like, or 20XX for Mega Man X. Like you can just make a Mega Man X game, and if it's your original things. Mega Man X Corrupted, okay. Is it no longer? Does it no longer exist? Why are you using past tense? But yeah, they should just make the level design and stuff all new, and eventually change the main character and a few whatever's copyrighted within it, and just release it as an original game. Because like I get the necessity, like I get like people aren't just making fan games because they like I don't want to make anything else, I only want to make a Mega Man game. They're doing it because people have a way to find your game, right? There are so many games nowadays. If you make a fan game within a series, fans of the series are going to find out about it. So it's a way to get noticed, like me doing fan art. But you know, have an exit plan. Like I do fan art, but my work doesn't like completely goes to waste. I'm getting followers, and then I can sell commissions. And I can monetize fan art in other ways if I wanted to. But I think it's really unfair. Like, why are you doing so much work within a series where you can't get anything back from it? Have an exit plan. Yeah, but Bloodstained case, I think it's just the original creator that wanted to do more Castlevania games outside of Konami. Oh really? I didn't know that. Oh, it's one of those. Like it happens, it didn't work out, but it happened with Mighty Number 9. And it happens a bunch of times. Actually, the Fatal Fury series and other SNK fighters were made by people who left Capcom after the original Street Fighter. And then they started making their own games. But there doesn't have a lot of strength because, you know, they made a timeless classic, Street Fighter 1, and those fakers left it in Capcom, just took their idea and made that completely irrelevant sequel, Street Fighter 2. Really, it doesn't really work for them. Nobody cared about Street Fighter 1. It was completely broken. Street Fighter 2 actually made the series work. Like some of the base ideas were in the original one, but they were completely unrealized. 2 is the one that's actually like the fundamental fighting game, so it's kinda lame. Do you guys know, by the way, that the original release of Street Fighter 1, didn't have 6 buttons like every other game in the series. It only had 2 buttons, one for punches and one for kicks. And you were supposed to hit the button harder, like it was a big button. And you're supposed to like hit it really hard to do the hard punch and the hard kick. But then shockingly, the machines that specifically told game players to hit the bottom as hard as they could to perform stronger attacks that hurt more started to break. No one knows why. So instead of that, they decided to just... Yeah, later they re-released it with 6 buttons. It wasn't like Street Fighter 2 wasn't the first one with 6 buttons. There were Street Fighter 1 machines with 6 buttons. And that's how the series wound up like that. They probably wouldn't have had because most games back in the day used 2 buttons. They might have not have had the courage to like make a 6-button game if it wasn't for that weird, really bad idea of telling people to punch your machine. But yeah, Street Fighter 1 sucks. Like, it's completely broken. The collisions are terrible. And special moves are ridiculously overpowered. Especially the Tatsumaki Senpukyaku. Like, if you catch an enemy in that, you can basically just drain their entire health. But yeah, that's the jankiest game. I wanted this. It's got another original shape. Yeah, I think the original shape was better. Just going to do like this. Have you guys played Street Fighter the movie, the game? From the 90s? Because that one's actually not that bad. Like, it looks pretty bad because it's like weird Mortal Kombat graphics with not very good costumes. But it's actually kind of fun. You can combo a lot because, I don't know, your attacks just come out really fast one after another. So it feels like it's weirdly easy to combo. I don't know, like it's silly but it's fun. It's not really a bad game. I love the fact that in Street Fighter 2 they say anything but Tatsumaki Senpukyaku. Really awesome that it's... it doesn't really suck, weirdly enough. It's not that bad. I still have no idea why it exists. Like, the movie was based on the popularity of the games. Why would you release a whole new game? And if you absolutely must, why not ask Capcom for the engine for Street Fighter 2 and just kind of mod that? Why reprogram the game from the ground up? I don't know. What about Street Fighter 2010? I love Street Fighter 2010. It's a really good game. It's one of the best 2D action games from the NES. It's so good. I used to do deathless runs. Like, I would only play up until like I got a death. If I got a death, I would reset the game. It's so good. There's so many different moves and attacks that you have to like get used to. And with the weird backflip, like if you jump straight up and then press back, you go into a backflip animation that gives you a few like rounds of frames of invincibility, and you have to really plan your attacks because they do like really weird arcs when you shoot them, depending on what direction you're pressing when you punch. It's really interesting, and it's like a boss rush. there's just like tiny little levels, and then you meet a boss, and it's all like this weird neon cyberpunk comic book future. Like it has nothing to do with Street Fighter, but it's so good. Who's your favorite Street Fighter character? Mine's usually ladies like Sakura, Makoto, Poison, etc. But lately I've really gotten into Akuma. I love how over the top he is. Yeah, Akuma is really silly. He's fun. I like Ken is the guy who I play in every game. Like because you know he's consistent. I can always play Ken. He's in every Street Fighter. He's my dude. But I think my favorite Street Fighter character, like in any Street Fighter game, is Makoto. She's my main in 3, and I really like her. The animations in 3 are so great, and I really like her style. Like she's really fun. I like her huge hands and feet. She's silly. And like the impact of her attacks. Like her combo, like her super combo where she just like it's a short range thing where you get the guy really close, and then she just like auras him for a while with a million punches, and then goes like bam with like this pose, and the dude just flies straight up and out of the screen, and then falls, and you can try to catch them on their way down. Yeah, she's great. I guess people were. Oh, the other character for me, who are you playing in 3? Makoto. Makoto is my favorite character overall in the series, and she's the one I play in 3. As well as Ken. Because I play Ken in every game. I really like Chun-Li, I like her design. But I don't like playing characters who... I don't like charge moves, you know? That you have to hold back for a while. Like I kinda play Guile in 2, but I'd rather not have to charge or anything. And I don't know, I never get her. I can never be any good as Chun-Li. But I also love her animations in Third Strike so much. She's all rubbery. It's kinda weird. She looks like a little bit of a different style. The character, she looks like she's made of some like stretchy thing. But the tree looks amazing. Again, so beautiful. But I also just really like the alphas. Alpha tree, the various versions of Alpha tree. Weirdly, I think that the ultimate version of Alpha tree is the PSP version, because there's so much to it. There's a bunch of different, like it has every character, which is like 50% more characters than the original release. But and it also has like a bunch of crazy modes for you to have fun with. But yeah, definitely like seriously, if you guys like 2D action NES games, give Street Fighter 2010 a shot. Like people just treat it like a meme because like it's a Street Fighter game that has nothing to do with Street Fighter, and yeah, it doesn't. It just should be called something else. But it's so great. For a long time, I just could play the GBA version of Alpha 3. It sucked. Everyone had the same stupid ending. Really? Well, usually in Alpha 3 everybody has the same stupid ending because you lose to M. Bison, who's completely like cheap, and then you get the ending where he turns you into like the energy source for his super weapon or whatever. Fighting game bosses suck. Why can't anybody make like a good end boss for a fighting game? It's also always like either a completely like cheap version of like a boss character fighting, like oh it's a boss character but his attacks take twice as much damage and he instantly parries stuff and his special move kills you in one hit. Like either that or it's like a giant dude who's really simple to beat and you just have to kind of alternate between attacking and parrying and there's no like dynamic to it. like the boss to Marvel vs. Capcom 2, which like has 3 different phases, but every phase is wait until he isn't attacking anymore, and then hit him like twice, and then parry again. Have you ever played Marvel vs. Capcom 2? Started typing that right before I mentioned it. It's so frustrating how hard it is to get your hands on it. I've never played Marvel vs. Capcom 2 and I really want to. I don't like how 3 looks visually. Yeah, I really don't like how 3 looks visually either. Didn't enjoy it as much as a game as well. The only one I've played. Oh, you really? Well, let me introduce you to the magic world of emulators. You can just download it, like get Final Burn and a CPS 1 copy of Marvel vs. Capcom 1, which is like the classics, really good. Like all the characters in that one are really good, and it's just soundtrack's awesome. It's really classic. Gonna take you for a ride. When you're selecting characters in Marvel vs. Capcom 2, you have to select 3 characters each, as well as how their assists going to function, and like whether you want turbo mode. So each character is choosing all those things, and the song that plays during that is literally that thing that I just said. You know, that gonna take you for a ride. This 3-second loop. It's just that over and 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 over again. And I have no idea who thought that was okay. I played Marvel's Superheroes, if that counts. Yeah, it's basically like an early. I got an arcade cabinet with that, Children of Atom and the Punisher beat 'em up. That's a pretty decent lineup. That's good. But yeah, just emulate it, dude. Final Burn or just Mimi, whatever you call it, ME. And a Dreamcast emulator for Marvel vs. Capcom 2. It's probably easier to get than a Naomi emulator, Naomi being the arcade equivalent of the Dreamcast. But not that many people like. There are plugins to make that work, but it's just easier to emulate Dreamcast, and it's essentially the same game, it's the same engine. Don't have a computer to emulate it on. My roommate has a computer. But it's his own. I only use it for important things, like paying bills. Really? Okay. I'm kinda surprised someone not having any computer at all, because really, PCs from the 90s could emulate CPS2 in real time completely fine. So any kind of Windows running thing you can get your hands on will emulate every classic Capcom fighting game, as well as, you know, SNK and all that. Sorry, got something on my throat. Yeah, that's super easy. Dreamcast, little bit harder, but again, computers from like, I don't know, 2008 could probably emulate that fine. It's not really that difficult. Emulators nowadays aren't that hard to run. Like, my computer, it's like 6 years old, I think, or more, 6 or 7 years old, and it was nowhere near cutting edge when I got it. Never really upgraded it, and I can run a Wii U emulator at 60 FPS on it. Apparently PS3 yet. Also, I haven't tried it yet, but I might just, if they never release Persona 5 for PC or anything like that, I might just do that. Like, emulators nowadays just run pretty good. And definitely stuff that you can't acquire out of emulators. I mean, that depends on where you're living. But for me, it's not even illegal. Like, if you don't have a legal way of acquiring something, it's not piracy to play it otherwise. So if something's not released in your country or not available for purchase anymore, I'm fine with pirating it. So another game that's really good that never got ported from the CPS2, which is Capcom Play System 2, by the way, which is basically the mid 90s Capcom arcade hardware. Alien vs Predator, the beat 'em up, is my favorite beat 'em up. It's so good. As a fellow South American, I agree. Hell yeah, let's go. No, yeah, if you can buy it legally, just it's fine. You can just emulate it. So yeah, I have it right here. Like I use Final Burn, and I can look up my Dreamcast emulator real quick because I bought like a newer one recently, which I think is a little bit more optimized. Where is it? Here we go. It's called Red Dream, like the words red and dream, but they are sharing a D. You know, nothing nicer than sharing a D. By the way, let me get a print screen going real quick. Boop. I'll just write it in chat. Red Dream. Yeah, like let me zoom in here. Like I just have this in my start menu, which are like even most of my emulators, but just some for quick access. I made little icons for them. Yeah, and even like games that I own, like I emulate most games that I own because my PC is better at running them. Like why would I play like dig up like my CRT and the Wii and deal with like degraded analog sticks on my GameCube controllers to play Melee when I can play in HD on my computer? Like I own the game, but I'm just going to play it on emulator. It's just generally more convenient. So I'm pretty much done with the sketch. I think I'm just gonna port the colors over. And at the end of the day, I think I'm just gonna make this for today. Just finish it and have it be what I do today. I'll make a little miniature here just as a guide and then just draw it over. think that I would kind of apply a filter later to make them really blown out like these ones are, where I'll just paint them flatly first. I was kind of limited because, you know, I settled on his coat as being moth-like, and moths aren't usually that colorful. And even, you know, a couple are, but then it doesn't look like what you think of when you think of a moth. It's usually more beige or white, or like gray, not really. Like some of them have some oranges mixed in, but or reds, but you know, not colorful creatures. And that was really like not very DarkStalkers like. And I noticed like most characters have either blue or purple, pretty prevalent on their design, and I wanted to do that. This theme sounds very similar to a Chrono Trigger theme. Yeah, makes sense. I wonder where it's from. Maybe it's like Mario RPG or something. We are at 15 minutes. Let me see. Nah, it's from Mario Galaxy. Oh yeah. This one I don't really remember. Yeah. Since yesterday, I've actually also been making. Like, I really need to catch up with posting my arts, everything, everywhere else, like everywhere other than Twitter. Um, and I've started that by like starting from the beginning. There's like organizing my art, and I'm going to post it all like from the start on ArtStation, which I never really used because I'm like, oh, I'm already behind on DeviantArt all the time. I don't want to do two places. But I was kind of unmotivated for DeviantArt, I guess, also because I don't know, mixed feelings about that site. Like I never use it because it's so bad for browsing. So I decided I'd actually be more motivated to start over on ArtStation, and then when I get more recent stuff, I'll post on DeviantArt too. My hope is that I'll catch up on those other platforms, and then I'll get on a rhythm where when I post something on Twitter, I simultaneously post it everywhere else. The hardest thing to do that is Instagram, which you have to post stuff from on your phone. But I've also, like, at the end of the day, the way that I do that because not only do you have to post it from your phone, when you're posting it, it also doesn't give you access to your cloud storage services. Like when I post something on Artful, which I created and wound up not going ahead with because this really hasn't taken off as a platform. If it does, maybe I'll come back to it. But anyway, when you post an Artful, I can just pull things from my cloud storage. But Instagram just takes from your phone's gallery, like from your phone's own, like the stuff that's already saved on the device. Doesn't really let you pull from anywhere else. Which means that basically the way I have to post stuff on Instagram is I go to my Twitter, download the image, and then it's on the top of the list, and I use that to post to Instagram. But it's still a pain, both because I have to scroll down on Twitter and find it before I can post it, but also because then you have to type everything with your fingers on like a text message, which is really slow on a tiny screen. You have to put a million hashtags because it's a hashtag based media. It's just the worst. You never want to bother with it. Should his glasses be gray? I guess. Am I? Okay, I'm using the right pencil. Oh, this is from Nintendo games. I thought it was Mario, but no. Yeah, it was completely distracted. Because they're like, this isn't Mario. Yeah. It was never Mario from the very beginning. Just kinda mostly. Should the inside of his mouth be like a normal color, or should it be something else? Because he's orange. Let's try just a really purpley color, like his gloves. Huh, it's fine. Anyway, I'm going to shade everything blue, so won't make that much of a difference. More Mario. Yeah, I haven't actually played the new Marvel vs. Capcom things. Like I used to play sometimes 3 with friends, but yeah, I didn't like how it looked either. and maybe I just never got used to it. I know people like it, but I just kind of preferred 1 and 2. There was an imposter in the playlist, yeah. I looked at the overhaul thing, and we actually had already heard Animal Crossing and Pokemon songs. So I guess most of the times when I was like, I don't really know this song, it just wasn't a Mario song. But yeah, there's an over-representation of Mario, to be sure. Just kind of left the nose behind. It's supposed to be the same brown as the rest. What about white? Should they be fully white? Pretty much. Yeah, pretty much. What is happening? Oh, they're up here. I'm just an idiot. Alright. Again, I have no idea what this is, so presumably not Mario. Or I could just be out of the loop, which I totally am. Yeah, I'm actually not going like this. I did some shades, the tiny one, but I'm not going to shade it yet. Shades are going to be in a different layer. Like Capcom's fighting games, I just haven't liked them in a while. Like since the Xbox 360 era. I've not really been a fan. They don't look as good as they used to. And I just generally didn't like them. Like I tried with Street Fighter 4. Like I even did a little tutorial things where they teach you the advanced mechanics, which is nice that fighting games have those now. You used to just like be on your own to learn stuff. But I started those and it just made me decide that okay, now I have like a good justification for not liking this game because I know how it works and I dislike it. The thing was like there weren't that many combos. Like it's like Street Fighter 2, you know, it's not really a combo based game when you're playing normally. But there's these really arbitrary exceptions where you get to do other attacks. Like I was doing as Ryu, I think the tutorials as Ryu. And it's like, oh, if you're hitting someone where you're falling down, so you hit them with a mid kick while falling down, then specifically the crouching middle kick you can do here, and it will hit them before the end of the stun. Like no other things will. And it's like, okay, that's kind of arbitrary, and like just something you have to learn and know, and you wouldn't ever intuit from playing the game. But okay, like we're learning the attacks to do that. But after a while they introduced this concept where sometimes there's a single frame after certain moves where you can input certain other moves, like it's this frame perfect thing. And then you just hit them with another move, which basically is like restarting your combo, and your combo ends up twice as big by doing a frame perfect input. A specific input that's also frame perfect, so you have to remember the input for every character, and exactly when you're supposed to press it. So yeah, that's not fun. That's just busy work. like you know what you want to do. You want to do one of the combos that's twice as long, but how you do it is super dependent on character, completely different for each character, and it's arbitrarily difficult to perform. That's not good game design. I really don't like that. I just like the fact that Zero and Phoenix Wright were in the same game. Yeah, that's fun. The crossover thing is fun. But you know, they take themselves kind of serious. Like they're not like a just party game like some stuff is. Like some of the older Dragon Ball games, like Dragon Ball Butokai Tenkaichi. Uh, those were just really fun games where you could pick up and play as any character really easily, and they all played the same, and it was like dumb. It wasn't a competitive game, but it was silly because haha, and like I'm fighting Frieza as like a random like soldier from a completely different villain or something, and I won. Or Krillin is fighting Super Saiyan 4 Goku, but I don't know. Like they're neither good nor bad mechanically. They're just kind of bottom meshy. Marvel Capcom still has that fun aspect, but they're trying to be a serious fighting game. People really wanted Phoenix Wright in Smash Bros. If anything, it seems less difficult to implement than Marvel's Capcom, because there's more like there's already kind of like characters from non-violent series in there, right? Like there's the Villager and stuff. It's just kind of sillier, and everybody just has like for some reason equal strength, even though they're like gods fighting against normal dudes. Everybody has equal force. So Phoenix Wright would probably be feasible, but it may be late. Right? There aren't that many slots left in Ultimate. The Jump Force game looks awful. I briefly played that at a friend's house once, and I can confirm that it is indeed pretty bad. It's just one of those odd systems. Like sometimes fighting games want to be really creative with their mechanics and not have like a typical health bar and stuff like that, but a lot of the time they just come up with really unsatisfying, awkward mechanics. And the games just also look so weird. Like they had all these characters with slightly different styles, and they tried to unify that by adding like this weird texture to everything, where everything's like glossy and over texturized. Everybody just kind of looks like moist plastic. I don't know what was up with that. But yeah, it was really not very fun to play. It's a shame because the DS Jump games were fun. I think it's been years since I played them. Yeah, I also haven't played them in a really long time, and there was kind of a mission system in the single player mode where you were supposed to do certain things, but the games were in Japanese. So I didn't really know what they wanted from me. So I have this kind of sense of frustration is kind of mixed in there with my memory of it. But the sprites are cute, and I think the gameplay was fun enough. Maybe a little bottom mashy, but it was fine. Are we back to the beginning? No. Did I change? Oh yeah, I changed playlists. Alright. Oh god. So yeah. I absolutely did not follow what I said Mario wrote, that I would just do a bunch of random sketches. I was just going to work on this guy a little bit as a warm up, and I wound up just spending the entire stream basically finishing him. But hey, that's fine. I had already done my commission quota for today. I need to also be advancing on other stuff, otherwise I won't post commissions. And Twitter does not like that. When I'm only posting commissions, I lose followers pretty steadily. I don't know if this will do any good at all. I don't expect it to be anything like super good. But we'll see. I heard that people reprogrammed like Mario 64 because the code of the games is so like well known at this point that I think people just know everything about it. So I guess they recoded it from nothing onto like Unreal Engine or something. So there's like a PC version of Mario 64 now that like plays the exact same, but you can set stuff to like really high resolution, and you can substitute Mario's model with like a really detailed model. And I like that the model that they used looks like exactly like the high quality Mario renders that they used for promotional stuff back around when Mario 64 came out. Like it doesn't look like a modern Mario model. They didn't like take the Mario Odyssey model. They just they made their own one that looks like Mario 64 era Mario, just as like a detailed model. That's pretty neat. I like game preservation, which is basically the effort to make older games. Oh, I saw that, it looked amazing. Yeah, it looks really good. I want to check it out sometime. Game preservation, which is basically what people call the effort to make older games not like go extinct, not become lost media, that like still be playable for the future. It's pretty much completely on the hands of people working outside the law, basically pirating, technically. Like, the gaming community does not have the legal right to preserve the history of gaming. Companies have the exclusive rights to those games, and they are using that right by letting games go extinct, which they seem to find preferable in many instances. Uh, so yeah, it's kind of difficult because you have to be doing illegal stuff to keep old games from just being lost to history. They all like still belong to people, but people who don't want to make them properly available would rather just sit on the rights and do nothing or not have the older games compete with the newer ones. So that's pretty crappy. I'm all in favor of people just saying, yeah, no, we are going to pirate your game and make it available forever. Not that Mario 64 specifically is a game where that's happening, but that's happening to a lot of stuff. Like if you wanted to play like an MSX game or something right now, like other than with emulators, a PC-88 game other than with emulators, like nobody's making that available. Even Nintendo's making like less stuff available than they did back in the Wii days. Because you know, nobody's making new versions of the older consoles. Nobody's printing new cartridges. Nobody's making new controls when the older ones wear out. Like my thing with my older consoles, like the reason I don't use them anymore is really because the controllers mostly wore out, and I can't really buy new ones. Like I can, but they're weirdly expensive and not worth it. So, like I own the games, I can play them in emulator if I want. But you know, those things will go extinct. They will break down. Like older games that use batteries to have save functions. The batteries have like they're really difficult to swap out, and they just don't have the functionality anymore. Stuff degrades, and just gradually gets thrown out. So you gotta make digital versions possible. We need emulators. And like people saving stuff in ways they are not supposed to. Like newer consoles, you don't even have physical copies of your game anymore. You only have the game available through a service that will be discontinued shortly after the lifespan of the console. And then the game's just gone forever, and you have no way to re-download it, and no legitimate way to play it. So people have to kind of take it on in their own hands to keep games from just disappearing. I don't know what I'll do with this shading. I had this line that went here and here. Looks weird now. Maybe it should be like brown. Not that brown. You sure suck at drawing circles. I think I'll narrow this one a little bit, like it's going behind the puffy white thing. There you go. And yeah. Wonder if this is too dark. But I can always just adjust the colors. It's fine. Oh, it's not supposed to be this one. It's supposed to be this one. Yeah, that sucks, and probably it's not a developer's choice. I think it's just marketing and distribution staff that doesn't want emulator to be more accessible and popular than current games. Yeah, I just don't think that's really a problem. I think they're pretty old-fashioned in some ways, and that's kind of like the drug war, right? Like, oh, we don't want this thing, so we have to prohibit it. So, but you know, prohibiting it's clearly not making it go away. I feel like everybody who wants to play old games just plays them on emulator. If it's the only way that's available, they're going to do it like that. So they might as well have their own platforms. Like it would be, people would pay for it. We've seen that so many times with pirating. If there is an easily available version of the thing for a fair price, people will choose to pay for it. But right now with games, you know, the only way to have a game forever is to pirate it, basically. Like the safest, longest lasting way to own a game is to pirate it. Because whatever service you buy it on is probably going to get discontinued. And like you're downloading into a console with really limited space. So you're kind of dependent on the console to have your library. And when the service gets discontinued, bam, you have nothing left. Everything you had just isn't accessible anymore. I'm leaving now. Great art, take care, and have an amazing weekend. Oh, you too. Have a fun time. I'm almost done myself. Just doing these little wings, and then going to call it a night. But yeah, thanks as always for hanging out. See you around. Yeah, I really feel like if the companies, and Sega's pretty good about this actually. Gotta give Sega its credit. Sega keeps releasing like ways to play, like platforms to play Mega Drive games. There's one on Steam. It's just like I'm not that much of a Mega Drive player. Like I didn't grow up with it. I don't really go back to the games. But they made like a really pretty one that like simulates a little room where you can have all your games and play it in a CRT that adds CRT effects to the emulator. Like they are doing it right. And you can buy old games like individually on Steam, and they're not at like a ridiculous price. and also they let people mod the games and make that available as like, because Steam has like ways to share mods. So Sega's super cool about this stuff. Like they have really way better policies. Like the Nintendo, even back in the day, they always did. Like I always liked Nintendo games, and I always had Nintendo consoles. But Sega's policies as a company were always a lot more open and a lot more fair. Nintendo was always really controlling and monopolistic as a company, even back in the day. Never really changed that. So yeah, right now it's really flat shading, because the shaded parts I'm going to redo with the blue shading of the DarkStalkers style art. Like here, you look at them, you see that the shaded parts are like purpley and bluish more than anything else. There's also the lines going through them, but it's mostly the inks that's doing the shading. Like here, I'm going more for this style. Like it's a bit of a darker blue, but not that much. It's more like just blue, and the lines are doing the shading. So that's the idea. I'm going to make, like I already have some lines, but I'm going to make them harsher probably. But I want to do just the blue over it first, so I know what I'm doing. It's easier to mess around with the shade of the blue, which will be on its own layer, than like undo something on the lines if I make them a little bit too harsh or something like that. So I'll probably just pick this up tomorrow and finish it real quick. I already have something set up to upload at 9 o'clock, which is half an hour from now on Twitter today. So today's upload's already on the bag. This will probably be tomorrow's upload. I just finish it first thing in the morning and then work on some commissions. Don't know if I'll stream. I always try to, if I have the available time. I find that weekends weren't as great for streaming. But maybe I'll do the thing on Twitter where I let people vote on a sketch as well. Sneak that in there in my work schedule. There are little flakes coming off of him. I had forgotten to add them to the new sketch. The idea is he's always kind of dropping little flakes that would be as a weapon he kind of leaves behind. Also, I'll make it more clear that his eyes are glowing when I shade this properly. But for now, here's Mothman. Thank you guys for hanging out. Not quite enough people to search for someone. Like it's displaying 2 now, and usually you lose some people in the transition to a raid, so probably not gonna raid anybody unless there's like someone on my list here. Oh, Orlek just started streaming. I thought. Oh yeah, Blagan said that it was late for them. Orlek's going to do his own stream, so we're just going to go over to Orlek. So yeah, thank you guys. Keep hanging out with Orlek over at his stream, drawing Leaf from Pokemon. So yeah, have fun. Thank you as always for showing up, and bye.
Hey, thanks. I watched the other stream that was in your it was on the bot and to learn how to pronounce your name. I hope I pronounced it right, but it's I think it was Guilherme, something like that. Guilherme. It was something one with like a Y. I'll do my best. I'll try to practice more. But thank you for for the raid, and thank you for stopping by. Hope you have an awesome night and awesome weekend as well. I just wanted to chill a little because next week probably I won't be able to stream, so I wanted to do a little thing. But yeah, thank you. Have a great one.